family. It's Providence. Thanks again for listening. Young Thug is apologizing, y'all. Things done got so desperate in the world of Young Thugger, that he is on a apology tour, apologizing to all the homies, apologized to his girl that left him, Mariah the Scientist, apologizing to Drake, Baby, Future, his family. He just up here just apologizing. Guwap, just, things must be really, really desperate when you get a gangster to apologize. Because I feel like top 5 things a gangster never does is apologize. So the fact that we got a real street gangster like Thug apologizing, things must be bad. And I do think things are indeed bad. Obviously, if you haven't been paying attention, there have been a ton of leaked phone calls, Thug talking to people, talking about people, some of the same people he's apologizing to in this song, behind their back, Thug cheating on his girl, and things have really hit the fan for Thug. It ain't been a good look. On top of that, there's all these snitching allegations, and he's responding to that too as well. So he dropped the song. Name of the song is Man, I Miss My Dogs, for all the dogs out there. And he's apologizing. So I want to look at the lyrics. First, generally just on the song itself, I feel like it's a good song. I'm going to be honest. For me, when it comes to Young Thug's music, I can't say I've ever been a huge fan. Some songs dope. Sometimes vocally he sounds amazing. Sometimes vocally I don't really like what he does. If you're a Thug fan, I can see you really liking this. If you're not a Thug fan, you probably don't like this. Right now, Thug is not very popular, so I can see a lot of people not really rocking with the song. But to be honest with you, I always like when an artist is much deeper than surface level. And what I mean by surface level, all these rappers is rapping about the same things: girls, guns, selling drugs, committing crimes, the street life, all that braggadocio type of music, right? All these rappers is doing that. I love when an artist has to go a little bit deeper. I like when an artist has to talk about real things like relationships, accusations, whatever. Like, get to like the real nitty gritty issues that they might be facing in real life. Because we all know that real life ain't about just how much money you making and flashing and stunting and boasting. You got problems. Everybody got problems. So I like when a rapper talks about their problems. I'm always going to be for rappers opening up and talking about their problems, even when they've been forced to do so. And yes, Thug has been forced to talk about his problems because it's been made public in a very real way, a lot of the issues that he's dealing with. And so now he has to address it publicly. And I'm here for it because I like to see artists do that. So it's a nice sentimental song. And in the song, we get a lot of insight. So I really wanted to look over some of these lyrics. First thing Thug does is address the situation with his woman, Mariah the Scientist. He says, "Baby, I'm sorry. One of my biggest fears is losing you to the internet." And I gotta be honest, Thug, you're not losing her to the internet. You're losing her to the actions that you've taken, which include continually cheating on her, going behind her back, relationally. And to be honest with you, I almost feel like she would have been okay with that. But the fact is, it has been made public now. So I guess in some sense, you're losing her to how public this situation has been. I don't know the dynamics of your relationship, but I'm almost 100% certain that she knows you've cheated before, that this isn't anything new. But the scale of which this is happening, like, now that everybody know you cheating, she look kind of crazy to stay with you. Plus, she on the phone with you while you talking trash about other people, how when you was calling Glorilla ugly, and it ain't a good look. She ain't do no defending. She ain't stand up to you. So she looked like she was with the gossip, and people are flaming her. And now she wants to leave you. Now, personally, you might be able to restore this relationship. She looked like she really liked you. Maybe after things calm down a little bit, you can step back into the situation. But the reality is, a lot of this, again, there's not this full level of accountability. Like, even though you're apologizing and you're attempting to make things right, which I support, I celebrate, even though you've been forced into this situation, and this is some PR work, I still support people apologizing. I think repenting is a good thing. Apologizing is a great thing. I think everybody should apologize. We should be really good at heartfelt, real apologies. So I'll never make fun of a person for choosing to apologize. But saying losing you to the internet is still not really taking accountability. You ain't losing it to the internet, you're losing it to your actions, what you've done, right? And so, yes, the public nature of things makes things way more complicated, but it ain't the internet's fault. Doug would then go on to show some love to Drake. Even though personally, I don't even think he really said anything real crazy about Drake. He said Drake should go talk to the president. Don't know what Drake could do about talking to the president to get you out of prison, but that's what he basically said about Drake. He was mad that Drake ain't go talk to the president. Okay. Not the biggest thing. I also thought it was kind of interesting that he didn't have any apology for Kendrick Lamar, who he criticized viscerally in this in his phone calls. He said Kendrick would basically never be like Drake, and Kendrick would never put anybody on, has never put anybody on. Whether or not that's true, you be the judge. But no apology for Kendrick Lamar anywhere in this song. But regarding Drake, he said, Drizzy, you my brother. You know I ain't going against you. I got manners. That's cool. Glad to know you got manners. Everything you did for the rap community, can't ban you, never diss you. Came to visit me at Cobb County like my kin do. I'm sorry, K-Bots, I got to be the one to highlight this, but Not Like Us continues to age like milk. Here is Young Thug, another prominent, legendary rapper from Atlanta, supposedly, according to Kendrick Lamar, the person that Drake continues to, the city that Drake continues to colonize and steal from and be a culture vulture towards. Another Atlanta rapper saying, look, dog, you did a lot for the rap community. I would never go against you. This seems to be the sentiment from almost every rap artist that I've heard speak from Atlanta. Drake, you did a lot for us. You were part of the culture. You helped. You contributed. There's no talk of culture vulture stealing from the culture or anything like that. Now you might say, okay, well, this is Young Thug. He don't want to lose Drake because that's his meal ticket, or someone that he can still stand to make a lot of money with. But at the end of the day, that just shows that Drake is a moneymaker. He collaborates with these artists. They make bread. It's always been a mutually beneficial situation. They get light shined on them from still the most popping rapper in the game for the last 15 years. They make a ton of money. We ain't heard no Atlanta rapper come out and validate what Drake said on Not Like Us. None. As a matter of fact, we've heard rappers say, actually, Kendrick, you don't really use your power to help put anybody on. Now, again, is that completely true? I'm not sold on that, but the sentiment that Kendrick is a lot less likely to collab, a lot less likely to help others in the rap community make money and generate wealth and all that, I think that's true. And by the way, Kendrick can certainly choose to do that if that's what he wants to do, but we all know that the one who's much more likely to collab and work together and all of this, who enjoys, I think, creating with other artists, is Drake. That's what he does. And so I just thought it was interesting. Shout out to Thug as a Drake fan. I'm very happy to see him show Drake love and say, nah, dog, you've done a lot for the rap community, because part of this whole hate train that was amplified to the max as a result of this battle with Kendrick Lamar, this was all pushing the idea that we got to get Drake up out of here because he's a leech. He ain't real hip hop. He ain't done nothing for rap, and stuff goes on and on. And even now with the whole lawsuit thing, well, nah, he really trying to destroy rap with this lawsuit. A man can't stick up for his name and say, hey, look, you can't call me no PDF file, bro. That's not true. Somebody got to pay for calling me that. Nah, forget all that, Drake. Not only are we gonna believe it's true, but we gonna stand against you for trying to defend yourself. I don't think that's how things should work, but that's the name of the game that we in. And people have been slamming Drake and saying that all he does is hurt hip hop. You got influencers talking about we gotta stand against Drake and it gotta be a media blackout because all he's doing with this lawsuit is hurting hip hop. It's a legitimate opinion. So I was very pleased for Young Thug to come forward and say, nah, bruh, you have done a lot for us. And to be honest with you, if we are honest with ourselves, we know Drake has continued to contribute to the culture. Drake is a huge reason why hip hop culture continues to be successful year after year after year. He ain't holding the culture up by himself. I would never say that. There's a ton of talented rappers making music. But to say that Drake don't contribute to the culture, man, come on, dog. And Thug recognizes this and thanks him for coming to visit him like his own family would. And that just goes to show you, man, one thing I've seen about Drake, and I know I'm sound like I'm super glazing right now, but I'm gonna just say it like I'm gonna say it like I see it, because unfortunately a lot of people out here pushing narratives about Drake that's false. Drake really is a caring individual. He cares. He shows love to a lot of people. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like Drake ain't never did nobody wrong. I'm sure Drake has probably done a lot of people wrong. He's a human being. But we see a ton of examples of Drake showing love, man. He tried to show love to Kendrick Lamar. All these rappers, all these people that have turned on Drake, Drake showed love. Drake helped them in various parts of their careers. They owe so much to Drake. It's just insane to me that the culture is even where it's at with Drake. Because all Drake do is show love, man. Thug got locked up and Drake literally shut the prison down and came to visit that dude, because that's the type of person Drake is. Somebody that's perpetually showing love. And everybody has turned and twisted and tried to make it into something negative. Like Drake is some leech and he don't really care. And all of that is false. And I'm glad Thug acknowledged it. But I think the biggest reveal that we get in this entire track is that things don't seem to be good between Wham, aka Lil Baby, and Thug. Thug would say, Wham, pick up the phone. Yeah, talk to me, it's Spider. Taught you everything you know about this ish. We for lifers. Okay? I think it's kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie. Those two first bars, that first bar, to say that, yo, you taught somebody everything you know, ain't that a little bit like sunning somebody? Like, yo, how could you not talk to me, bruh? I taught you everything in this. Like, yo, pick up the phone. Stop trying to play me. That's kind of how I'm taking those words. Now, I'm sure that Young Thug ain't mean nothing too aggressive, but if I'm apologizing to somebody and I really wanted to pick up the phone, I'm not trying to sun them in the same way and say, yo, bro, I kind of taught you everything you know. Why you like, yo, pick up the phone? Like, yo, don't you know this is your mentor, brother? Like this is, I put you on. Like, I don't know. That's probably not the best way to approach it. I don't know how Lil Baby would take that. Maybe if Lil Baby has himself personally acknowledged that, maybe it's nothing. Maybe they've had those conversations before and Baby's like, yeah, bro, you taught me everything I know in this joint. So maybe it ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? But if Baby ain't never came to the conclusion that, yeah, man, shoot, I owe this all to Thug right here, then I don't personally think that's how you should try to go winning somebody over. Is to try to sun them and say, yo, you in this because of me, gang. I taught you everything. So clearly there's been some backlash over this whole ratting situation. I mean, that's the only way I would think that Wham wouldn't want to be talking to Thug. I don't think anything significant about Thug and Wham was revealed in any of their jail calls. So I'm assuming that all of this is because of the ratting. And I would imagine that a lot of these guys, 21 Savage, Drake, I mean, Wham, a lot of these dudes, especially the real street ones. Drake, you know, you can say maybe he's street adjacent, but not really street like that. They're they're the ones who always calling out the rats and was ready to make fun of Gunna and call him a rat and all that. And they've been silent. And it's not really clear why. Are they waiting to see? Are they still evaluating the evidence, or have they made up their mind on what Thug did? Is he a rat? Is he not a rat? Do they think he's a rat and now they just completely cutting him off? Or are they kind of waiting to play out to see like, yo, can Thug kind of bounce back? And then maybe if he bounces back, they rock with him. Are they just thinking about what's the best way to align themselves with Thug because they don't want to see, because all these guys got their street reputations now. They know people gonna say, oh, so if Thug is a rat, you working with a rat. And so I don't know, maybe the silence is them just trying to navigate the situation, or maybe the silence is just the beginning of them really trying to pull away from Thug. Because at the end of the day, like, how effective will this song be? You know, how effective will this song really be? To be out here apologizing and stuff. And look, you could talk about how that reeks of desperation. It does. You know what I mean? But if you're really trying to save your career, and I think most rappers recognize it's really hard out here to not be able to collab, not be able to make songs with some of the hottest rappers out here. Nobody wants to be blackballed in the industry. That ain't it. And I'm sure that Thug cares about some of these relationships on a personal level as well. Yes, it will hurt him on a business level, but I'm sure he actually cares about Wham and some of these guys, 21 Savage, Future. He cares about these guys personally. He might have talked a little bit of trash about them behind their back. He might have, right? But he cares about these guys, and I think he does care about where the relationship goes, not just the fact that they probably won't collab with him. And it's a lot harder to make a song pop if you don't got your favorite collaborators making music. So yes, he's definitely trying to save his career with all of this, but I also think he's trying to save real relationships that he has with people. So it'll be interesting to see what, if any, will actually be the response. I don't think he's going to get any of these rappers that have been silent about this to speak out. I mean, what we've seen so far in terms of rappers actually responding to this is Drake liked the song. Drake liked the social media post about the song that Thug put out. Now, does that mean that Drake is going to run to collab with him? No, I think Drake is just sending a slight nod to Thug to say, yo, I see you, I hear you, we're good. But I don't know if that necessarily means that Drake is running to the studio to collab with Thug. All of that remains to be seen. Now, with regard to Future, he says, man, I miss my dog. Sitting down and having talks with me. Walking me through this life-ish. You deserve an apology. Standing right beside you. And you was right beside me. I don't gotta speak on your name. They know astrology. Okay. A little bit of a bar there. Astrology, Pluto. Okay. So he's talking about Future here. And I will say, out of all the people that he talked trash about, I personally think Future might have got it the worst. Yeah, he said what he said about Kendrick Lamar, but him and Kendrick Lamar ain't that big cool, right? So I don't think really clearly Thug doesn't even care to try to mend that relationship, because there's no apology to Kendrick in this entire song. And no one really expects for Kendrick and Thug to really ever rock with each other, right? And I think the situation with Drake makes it even more complicated, because now I'm sure Thug is interested in showing loyalty to Drake. And so Thug really ain't finna trying to rock with Kendrick in any way, shape, or form. And I don't think Kendrick cares to rock with Thug either, really. But Future, that's a different story. And I really felt like what he said about Future was kind of crazy. Said he was a deadbeat dad, which basically confirmed a lot of the narratives that have been, said about Future and his interaction with his family, his children. It's funny because right around that same time, news broke that Sierra had added Wilson to Future Jr., baby Future's name. And so there was a sense in which, dang, Sierra trying to say, yo, this is really Russell's son. That's how people were interpreting. Yeah, Future, he got your name, but really the one taking care of this this little man right here, baby Future, is Russell, and I'm finna add that man's name to this little dude because he the real dad. That's how people were taking it. And while that is hitting the timeline, we hear an audio about Thug saying, "Man, yeah, man, Future really gotta learn how to take care of his kids." I mean, the timing could not have been worse, and all it really did was play into these narratives. Now, I don't know Future personally. I would imagine that Future probably has some interaction with his kids. And I also think that Future probably can only give as much as he's gotten. Like sometimes some of these dudes just don't even really even know. I'm not making any excuse for men who don't take care of their kids and not in their kids' lives. But a man like Future, like you really wonder, like, man, what does he even have to give to the kids, man, besides money? You know what I mean? Like, like, I don't even know, like, can Future even actually, like, show love and empathy and instill knowledge and values? And, like, no disrespect to Future, but, like, I don't ever envision Future, like, being a dad. And that might sound terrible. And again, I don't know him. He could probably have aspects of being a great father, right? And I'm not saying that he can't learn to be, because no matter where you are, you can always learn to be better. But I always look at Future, I'm like, man, what does Future? There's some dudes, they don't got nothing to really give. They just don't. And so all of that could probably be affecting the way he interacts with his kids. But besides all that, Doug was on the phone caught saying that he doesn't really like hanging around Future like that because Future be acting different when the women come around. And so he don't really like how Future be acting different when the women come around. And so he don't really be rocking with Future like that, like how he once was. That's essentially what he was caught saying on the jail call. And so I guess my question in all of this is, what's the real Thug, man? Because once something like that comes out, people gonna ask the question like, is it that you miss sitting down and having talks with Future? Or is it, man, I don't really want to be around Future like that, talking to him because he be acting different. When I be trying to talk to him about things, he don't really get it. And when he be around women, he be acting different. So it's like making a song, now that all of that has come out, and apologizing and say how you miss talking as XYZ. But when we really caught how you felt behind the scenes, you was like, man, I don't even really like rocking with this dude like that. So it's not as easy as just releasing a song and people believing that, okay, this version of what you say in the song is how you really feel. Because clearly you're going to scramble to try to save face publicly, save relationships, try to portray this idea that you and Future and all these guys who are very influential and have their own fans, you're going to try to make it seem like you're super cool with these guys. Because you don't want them to turn around and reject you because you'll be out the culture in a way worse way than anybody could have ever thought about Drake. And so it just becomes difficult to really believe some of this stuff. Like I would hope that you really do care about Future. And I would imagine you do, right? Because I think some of what was being said by Thug was him saying things in frustration. When it was the case that Future didn't want to do the whole Free Young Thug concert, I'm sure Young Thug was just pissed, angry, frustrated, right? A lot of this stuff he was mad at people for not helping him with his album or doing a concert. We really catching him in places where he was really upset and frustrated with people and made comments. Is that the grand scope of what he thinks about people? Probably not. But the issue is, it's very immature for you to react the way you react when somebody doesn't do what you want. Right? That shows that you're a very selfish individual. Such and such don't want to give you a verse. Now I'm going to throw him under the bus and talk all types of trash. Such and such didn't want to do a Free Thug concert. Now I'm going to be mad at him. And some of these people you claim to be your friends, the ones that you really rocking with. And so it comes across as disingenuous. And in my opinion, I'm asking like, what's the real Thug? The ones that's come, I want to believe the person in this song right here is the real Thug, but I got questions about that. All right, guys. So get in the comment section and answer that question. What do you think is the real Thug? You think all of this apology stuff is how Thug really feeling, or you feel like everything he said on them jail calls is how he really feel. But now he's just trying to save face with this song because his career is on the line. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And as always, thank you guys for listening. This is Providence. I'll see you in the next video.